This is not my baseline. This is what a manic episode looks like in 11 parts. 1. I was driving my car 100 miles an hour down the interstate, and as the road ahead of me banked to the right, I wondered what would happen if I turned left. I lit up a cigarette instead. I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes then. 2. I wrote another poem called Skinny Jeans. It's a funny poem. I use humor as a way to get the audience to like me, and to get them comfortable enough to see the scariest corners of my mind. Bo Burnham said, you can tell them anything. Just make it funny, make it rhyme. This is not a funny poem. This poem does not rhyme. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. 3, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I didn't mean to. Does anyone ever mean to? 4, when I was in community college, I took a poetry class. They played us recordings of the beat poets, and it was the first time I heard the queer voice of Allen Ginsberg say, I can't stand my own mind! I wanted to write poetry and read it in coffee shops, just like him. I read a poem about dying for the class. My professor told me that my metaphors weren't believable, that you can't actually be asleep long enough to be completely covered in snow. I asked him if he was ever suicidal. He told me that I can't expect all my readers to be suicidal. I told him that I had spent weeks in bed, that the snow easily accumulated, and that I had been asleep longer than that in a metaphorical way. He told me that I cannot have a metaphor within a metaphor. I said, fine, I'll just read poems like Ginsberg then. He told me that I was not Allen Ginsberg. I wanted to tell him the names of all the poets he wasn't and would never be, and who I was, but I decided to show him instead. That's when I started reading in coffee shops. Thank you, Professor. 5, bipolar people are more likely to kill themselves in a manic episode than a depressed one. People don't understand that though. They say, don't you feel good when you're manic? I tell them it's like when a comedian cuts their set short after a big laugh. They call it going out on a high note. 6, I do not feel good when I am manic. 7, when you're suicidal, you forget the names of every Facebook friend who copy and paste a status saying, call me anytime, we'll make coffee and talk. You text your best friend the words, I need help, but don't hit send, because you don't want to be a burden. 8, sometimes I talk so fast because I'm thinking so fast that my mouth can't keep up, and I'm scared that I'll forget what I'm saying or forget to think about whether or not I should actually say the things. 9, I'm sorry, I said them. 10, I took out $500 and put it all on black. I mean, how many times could a roulette wheel really hit red in a row? I felt such shame. How many people could I have helped with that money instead? When I went back to the ATM, it said that I had insufficient funds. I was insufficient. 5 times. It can hit red 5 times in a row. It happens all the time. 11. Bukowski said that poetry is what happens when nothing else can. Right now, nothing else can, but I'm not Charles Bukowski.